organization, so it's easy to become a part of, and that's what we want. It's a not-for-profit organization, and we invite everyone to get involved and to submit content. So tonight's first speaker that we have is Craig Wagner. Craig is a longtime employee of Point Archery. Smith Point is located in Patchogue, and Craig will certainly talk about that. It's an archery store, but it's not just archery. They offer a lot of hunting gear and so forth. It's a great organization. I've been involved there. I've shot archery there. I've also purchased items from them, particularly the Matthews Creed that you see above, and actually purchased it from Craig. So I'll bring Craig down now to start the show. Good to see you, Craig.
How you doing, Christian?
Have a seat. So welcome.
Thank you.
Before we get into Smith Point, I think our viewers and myself actually, since we're really Island Hunting Exchange and it's really for Long Island hunters, I imagine that you yourself have some affinity towards hunting.
Oh yeah, it's a passion.
So why don't you tell us just a little bit about your history in hunting, how long you've been hunting, how did you get started in hunting, those type of things.
All right, well I started when I was 16. My father took me hunting, and in those days I was a rifle hunter. I rifle hunted up north in Vermont until I guess I was about 35, when I took up archery in order to hunt Long Island, because I knew there was a lot of deer down here and I live on Long Island, so it would be easier to hunt. Couple of years of archery hunting on Long Island, and I gave up rifle hunting altogether. I found that it's more comfortable here, it's convenient, there's a lot of deer, and I love archery. So that's why I'm a bow hunter now.
So how many years have you been hunting now?
Oh, God. 40?
Well, good for you. Now, you mentioned deer hunting. Do you do any other type of hunting?
I used to. I used to duck hunt, I squirrel hunted, I rabbit hunted. At this point, I am strictly a deer hunter. I've actually hunted rabbits and squirrels with a bow also, which is kind of a challenge. It's a lot of fun. But now it's just deer.
Okay. You know, in prepping for our hunting video production, the haul that we do once a month, I interviewed all of the IHE board members. Mm-hmm. And I asked them 2 questions about hunting that I thought was very telling. And it was, there was 2 questions that I thought were really pertinent. And the first was, if I was to ask you to use just 3 words to describe hunting, mm-hmm. and why you have such an affinity and passion for it, what would those 3 words be?
Well, the first one would be challenging. The second one would probably be it's exciting, and the third one would be rewarding.
Okay, well those are certainly three great words.
Mm-hmm.
Let me follow that up with a similar question, same type of challenge, so to speak, using 3 words. What do you feel are the 3 most important attributes that a hunter should possess when going afield?
Okay, that's a good one. The first one is you really need to know your equipment. That's important. You need to have a lot of familiarity with that. You need to be good with it. So the first one would be equipment. The next one would be understand deer, or whatever it is you're hunting. And the last one would be, I think, put in your time in order to be successful.
Right. That's great. The first 2 that you mentioned, actually, of the people that I had mentioned, your answers were actually novel. So
okay.
It's great. It's fantastic because everybody had a different take on what were the most important things. Certainly the last component was a prevalent one, actually putting in the time and being out there in the field. So how long you been working for Smith Point?
About 3 years.
Okay, and did you ever work for an archery store or a hunting store before that? How did you get involved with
Well, I got involved with archery, like I said, because I wanted to hunt with a bow. And then I just fell in love with archery. So no, I have never been involved professionally before Smith Point.
And how did you get involved with them?
Well, I was a long-time customer, and I saw they were looking for help, and loving archery, I thought that was a perfect fit. And I guess so did they.
Who are they?
That would be Jared and Jeff.
Okay, that's father and,
That Jared is the father, Jared is the son, Jeff is the father, and they are the owners.
okay. And have you enjoyed your employment with them?
Oh, yeah.
And what makes it special working at Smith Point?
Well, I get to talk about deer hunting.
Okay, that's,
Right.
can I work there?
Yeah, yeah. And above and beyond that, it's also archery. Hunting is just one reason to use a bow. There are other reasons. And actually, the more you use the bow, the more successful you will be when you hunt.
Okay. I know I spoke briefly with Jared, and he actually said that he's not so much a hunter, he's more of an archer.
Jared used to hunt, but life gets in the way sometimes.
Right.
So now he's a professional quality target shooter.
Okay. And he competes.
He competes in tournaments and he shoots in leagues.
So what, when you mention leagues and so forth, I know I've been seeing a lot, I've been receiving a lot of emails from Smith Point about the services that they offer and so forth. What makes Smith Point special?
Well, we cater to all aspects of archery, not just the hunting community. Hunting is a very big part of Smith Point, but lately there's been a lot of interest in archery in general. Traditional recurve, traditional longbow, Olympic recurve, and compound. What makes it special is that we have programs where we offer lessons, both private and group, at a reasonable price. We offer youth leagues where kids can come in and actually compete in shooting competition. It's a light competition, you know, with awards given at the end of the league. We have adult leagues where you can come in and you can shoot. And these things, they increase your skill level, and it's competitive. So at the end of the season, if you're on a winning team, you make a nice piece of change as a prize.
Sure. You mentioned the lessons a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that. What you offer group, you offer individual?
Jared is our private lesson instructor, and he's, I would say, in my opinion, the best instructor on Long Island, right? He does lessons on a one-on-one basis, and that's by appointment, and it's private. Usually he does them before the store opens, so it's him and the student, and me practicing. And he gets $40 for that, and he's going to take you from wherever you are and bring you forward. So he'll judge your skill level by watching you shoot, and then he'll bring you into more fine points of shooting.
Okay.
All right, I do group lessons. I do those on Monday night. I get $20. That's an hour-and-a-half session, but it's a group. I might have 5 or 6 students. And I do the same thing. I watch the person shoot, and then I work with him from there, depending upon what I see and what I think he needs to improve his shooting.
And how long are the individual lessons?
40 to 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Now, in any case, after the lesson is over, you're allowed to stay and shoot until the store closes if you want. So what you've learned, you can then stay and practice.
Okay. You mentioned until the store closes. What are the hours of operation for Smith Point?
During the week, we open at 2 and we close at 10.
Okay.
And on weekends, it's 12 to 5.
Okay, and for our viewers who don't know, who haven't visited Smith Point, what's so great about it is that, I went there to purchase a bow when I first went there, or to look for hunting gear actually a couple of years ago. And what was amazing was the range. How there's not many places that offer that, which is fantastic. So with that in mind, beyond the lessons and the range and so forth, and bringing it back to hunting, you sell hunting gear, obviously.
We have all kinds of hunting gear. We carry tree stands, ladder, climbing, and hanging tree stands. We carry cover scents, attractants, both food and sexual attractants for the deer, broadheads, just about anything you can possibly need for hunting except clothing. We don't carry clothing. You can get at Smith Point.
Okay, I know I picked up a rangefinder there
Right.
recently, and obviously, what type of brands do you sell? You're limited to one brand? Do you have?
Oh, no, we have a
multiple
lot of brands. We have a lot of, in bows, we carry all well-known and reputable companies. We carry PSE,